Which statistical question best fits the data graphed below? So before we even look at the questions, let's just take a look at the data in the graph first and interpret some of the numbers. So it looks like we have our box and whisker plots where we have the information separated in between girls and boys in a whole class. It looks like our lowest number we have is 0. We have a data point for 0, and the highest data point is 30, but it looks like 30 is going to be more of an outlier. So let's look at the statistical questions now to see which one best could represent the data in this graph. So the first question is, how many movies did each member of the class watch last night? So the thing that jumps out about the graph here that would make this question not make any sense is you have this high data point of 30. You even have data points of 15 and 10. I don't know about you, but I could try to watch 30 movies, but movies are usually an hour long, so that's a minimum of 30 hours, and that would be watching it in one night. You can, even if you have a marathon, there's only 24 hours in a day, so that doesn't make sense for the time period of last night. So question A does not make any sense for the data we have in this graph. Let's look at question B. How many books did each member of the class bring home last night? Along the same lines of why question A doesn't make sense, it would be hard for a student to bring home 30 books. It's possible, but again, your data points here are a little too high for that to make sense. Even bringing home 15, 10, maybe 5 books or 0 books would start to make sense, but again, that one data point of 30 doesn't make sense. Even if you bring them home, you're not going to be reading them, so B is not a good question to represent this data. Let's look at C. How many pencils does each member of the class have in his or her desk? So right away, you're looking at in his or her desk, so you can separate the information between boys and girls. You can have 0 pencils in your desk. You could have up to 30 pencils in your desk. Pencils are smaller. They're often collected and forgotten about in a desk, especially. You want to think in a class situation. So C is a possible question that could represent the data in the graph. Let's just take a look at D first to make sure that question doesn't fit better. D says, how many feet high is each member of the class? Well, right away, just very similar to A and B, we have a data point of 30. If you have someone in your class 30 feet high, they should be in the Guinness Book of World Records. So again, these data points are too high. With the 15, with the 10, too high to be measuring the height of the members or the students in your class, so D is not a good question. The only question that makes sense and best fits the data graph below is C. How many pencils does each member of the class have in his or her desk because you have such high data points?